Affordable housing is one of the hottest topics for this election. All across the country, people are feeling the pinch, and every single party says they want to fix the issue. But which party has the best plan? Housing prices have skyrocketed during the pandemic in many communities, making it very difficult for buyers. In fact, did you know Canada has the fastest growing house prices of all G7 countries? But first, how did we get here? Let's explain.
Price increases across Canada has been extreme. According to Stats Canada, in 2011, the average price of a home was $330,000. 10 years later, in 2021, at its peak, the average price across the country hit $716,000. That's more than 100% growth in just 10 years.
But let's look at one of the hottest markets like Toronto, for example. The increase in prices is even more severe. In 2011, the average price of a single-family detached home was approximately $450,000. Now, in 2021, that price has nearly tripled to $1.25 million. That's almost a 300% increase. But have incomes been keeping up with the price of homes?
According to Stats Canada, the average income for Canadian families for 2011 was $79,530, while in 2019 it was $98,690. Incomes rose on average by just a 24% increase during this time period. So, if our average income isn't growing at the same speed as housing prices, then what is causing this insane growth in house prices?
So here are the issues. The government hasn't planned properly for our massive growth. A big part of that is a lack of supply of homes. The reality is Canada has a growing population, and one of the big contributing factors of that is immigration. The Canadian government actually has set a target of bringing in approximately 400,000 immigrants a year, which leads to more demand for housing. But according to statistics, as a country, Canada only builds around 200,000 homes a year. Basic rules of supply and demand proves that when there is more demand than supply, that leads to higher prices.
On top of the situation is an external factor of foreign investment. Some reports have indicated that around 3% of home sales in the hot markets of Vancouver and Toronto are actually from people who don't live in Canada. But while 3% may sound like a small number, when you take into account that there's already such high demand, then any additional pressure on the demand side will only make things worse. So, what are the plans to fix this?
So here's what the different parties are promising. Let's start off with the Liberals, because they want to build, preserve, and repair 1.4 million new homes over the next 4 years. They also want to impose a ban on new foreign ownership for the next 2 years. Double the first-time home buyer's tax credit from $5,000 to $10,000, and they want to introduce a home buyer's bill of rights that would essentially make blind bidding, which is when people bid on a home without knowing what the other offers on that home are, illegal, and establish the right to a home inspection. Plus, the Liberals want to implement a national tax on empty homes owned by people who just don't live in Canada. But they also want to work with Indigenous partners to co-develop a housing strategy to ensure more Indigenous people have access to safe and affordable housing.
Okay, let's look at the Conservatives. They want to build 1 million homes in just 3 years, impose a ban on new foreign ownership for the next 2 years, use at least 15% of the federal government's 37,000 buildings for housing, encourage Canadians to invest in rental housing by allowing tax deferrals, create a for Indigenous by Indigenous housing strategy, implement the Housing First approach to help reduce homelessness, including investing $325 million over 3 years to create 1,000 residential drug treatment beds and build 50 recovery community centers across the country. They also want to encourage a new market in 7 to 10-year mortgages and reduce the need for mortgage stress tests.
So here's what the NDP is offering. They want to create 500,000 affordable housing units over the next 10 years, with half of those in place within the next 5 years. They also want to impose a 20% tax on foreign home buyers rather than banning those purchases outright. Plus, they want to increase the number of affordable homes by waiving the federal portion of the GST/HST on the construction of new affordable rental units. And they want to double the home buyer's tax credit, plus create a registry to increase home ownership transparency and to help stop money laundering.
Now let's check out the Green Party. This is what they're planning. To focus on low-income housing by creating at least 300,000 units over the next 10 years, declaring a national housing and homelessness emergency, reworking the mandate of the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation towards supporting the development of affordable nonprofit housing, and creating a Minister of Housing to oversee these ideas.
Now listen, there's no guarantee any of these plans will actually make house prices in Canada more affordable, but at least the parties have a plan to tackle this. So which one do you think is best suited for this country? Let us know in the comments.